Hey, this is Joni. In today's video, we will discuss what Europe should do to improve Ukraine's negotiating position. Trump is planning on having negotiations between Ukraine and Russia in January. These talks are expected to be very tough because Russia currently doesn't really have many incentives to negotiate. To give Ukraine some leverage, but also to give Vladimir Putin an incentive to negotiate, European countries should send military aid packages to Ukraine before the negotiations start. Ideally, these packages should be announced the same day to have a maximum impact and send a clear message to Moscow. Putin doesn't currently have any incentive to negotiate because he hasn't reached any of his initial strategic goals in Ukraine, but he also believes that his situation is going to improve over time, which will put him in a better position to negotiate in the future. Donald Trump has stated that he wants the war to end, but also that he won't send any weapons to Ukraine anymore. By promising not to send any weapons to Ukraine, Donald Trump is projecting weakness. At the same time, Europe isn't sending enough aid to Ukraine. All these things combined make Vladimir Putin think that his negotiating situation will improve in the future. To provide Putin with a real incentive to negotiate, there needs to be threats. Putin needs to understand that his negotiating situation will only get worse in the future. And to make him understand that, we need to threaten him with large military aid packages to Ukraine if the negotiations fail. Another thing we should or could do is to lift the restriction, or at least threaten to lift the restriction, on doing long-range strikes inside the Russian territory with Western weapons. This would also give Putin an incentive to negotiate. Russia is going to put a lot of effort to seem invincible before the negotiations start. However, it is important to remember that Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been mostly a failure until now. Russia has failed to reach its initial strategic goals, and Russia is unlikely to reach them in the future. During the last 12 months, Russia has been attacking constantly and has a net gain of 0.1% of Ukrainian territory. That isn't a lot. It's also good to remember that in almost 3 years of invasion, Russia has failed to invade any of the 23 regional capital or special status cities that Ukraine held when the full-scale invasion started. Russia is also facing other issues. Russia is losing equipment at a faster pace than it can produce it. And Russia has been relying heavily on Soviet equipment that was stored from the Soviet Union, and this equipment is starting to run out. At the same time, Russia doesn't dare mobilize because its economy is overheating, and its central bank has already put a 21% key interest rate. This inflation is mostly due to a shortage in labor, but also to increased spending and sanctions. Because of this shortage in labor and the inflation it leads to, Russia is forced to ask North Korea for help. To conclude this video, negotiations will be difficult. If Trump wants these negotiations to succeed, he truly needs to threaten Russia and give Putin an incentive to negotiate. But Europe can and should help Ukraine gain some leverage for the negotiations by sending military aid packages before the negotiations start. This was today's video. I hope it was interesting. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.